At meal times, my toddler could just...
Here are 3 things to think about if your child doesn't want to come to the table, stay at the table, or sit and eat at the table. I'm Talia, I'm a pediatric dietitian, and I specialize in extreme picky eaters. First thing I want you to think about is, are mealtimes enjoyable or are they quite stressful? If they're quite stressful, it's not a surprise the child might not want to come to the table. So what you need to do is look at where you're stressed and how can you modify that so that it can be a more pleasant experience for both you and your child. Next thing to consider is, where is your child sitting at the table? What I mean is, where are they sitting, like in a chair? So for example, when you sit at the table, your feet, your hips, and your knees are at a 90 degree angle. And if most children are in a seat where their feet are dangling and they're not sitting on something like a footrest, that can be a very uncomfortable situation. If you've ever sat on a really high bar stool without a place to put your feet, you would know exactly how uncomfortable this is. So that might be a reason that the child doesn't want to stay at the table. The third and final thing to consider is, are you also sitting and eating at the same time as your child? Because if you're not, it'd be like going out on a date with your spouse where your spouse says, oh, it's okay, I've already eaten, you just eat. And then you sit there through this meal where you're eating but they're watching you. And that can feel very strange. And also it gives you more opportunity to be nitpicking what they're doing, what they're eating, and what they're not doing, what they're not touching, what they're not eating.